Buzz, welcome back to your favorite corner of the internet for all things K-pop and K-drama. Today, we've got a major update about one of the fastest rising rookie groups in the industry, Boynextdoor. And trust me, if you weren't paying attention to them before, now is the time to start. Because these boys just made a huge statement with their latest comeback, and I have a lot to say about it. So let's get right into it. Boynextdoor just released their fourth mini album, titled No Genre, on May 13th. And let me tell you, it's already smashing records left and right. According to Hanteo chart, the album sold a whopping 166,119 copies in just its first week. Yes, you heard that right. Over 1.1 million albums sold in a week. That's not just impressive, that's a career high. To put it into perspective, their previous mini-album 1999 sold 750,000 copies in its first week, and now they've jumped to over 1.1 million. That's a 1.5x increase, and in the K-pop world, especially for a rookie group, that kind of growth is insane. It shows that they're not just surviving in the industry, they're thriving, evolving, and clearly building a solid and growing fan base. Now let's talk about the music. The title track, I Feel Good, is doing just as well as the physical sales. It climbed its way into the upper ranks of Melon's Top 100 chart on May 14th, just one day after the album dropped. That is not an easy feat, especially with how competitive Melon is these days. But what's even more impressive is how their older digital single, Only Today I Love You, which was released back in January, is still going strong on the charts. That tells me they're not a one comeback wonder. They're building a discography that people actually want to keep listening to. And it's not just Korea that's feeling the Boynextdoor effect. Japan is on board too. No Genre ranked first. Place on Oricon's daily album ranking for 2 days in a row. That's a big deal because Oricon is basically Japan's equivalent of Billboard. Plus, their title song is also charting high on Line Music's Daily Song Top 100. So they're not just growing domestically, they're going global. But here's where I want to pause and talk to you guys for a moment. Because I remember, when Boynextdoor debuted under Chaos Entertainment, a Hybe label, there were mixed reactions. Some people said they sounded too generic, others said they had potential but needed time. And now look, 1 year later, they're million sellers with songs dominating both Korean and Japanese charts. That kind of rise doesn't just happen overnight. That's hard work, strong music production, and a fandom that's really putting in effort. Personally, I think what's working for Boynextdoor is their clear identity. Despite the album title being No Genre, ironically, their sound is becoming more and more recognizable. It's youthful, it's energetic, and most importantly, it feels authentic, like you can tell they're not trying to copy another boy group. They're carving out their own lane, and I respect that. Also, can we talk about the concept photos and styling for this comeback? I don't know if it's just me, but they really found a look that balances boyish charm with a more mature edge. It's like they're growing up in front of our eyes, and that makes this comeback feel like a new chapter for them. One that fans can get really emotionally invested in. Now they're also continuing their promotions through music shows and YouTube content, which I think is super smart. We know that nowadays, performance stages alone aren't enough. Fans want personality, they want behind-the-scenes moments, they want memes and chaos and realness. So by appearing on variety content and vlogs, they're building that emotional connection that makes fans stay. Let me throw this back to you guys. Have you listened to No Genre? What did you think of I Feel Good? Do you think Boynextdoor is now officially part of the 5th gen frontrunners, or do you think they still need one more hit to really lock it in? And do you think their Japanese chart success could signal a full-blown international breakthrough soon? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I really want to hear from you. Whether you're a Donnie, a new listener, or someone who's still on the fence, let's talk about it. Are they Korea's next big boy group? Or are they still in their building phase? Okay, that wraps up our first story. But don't go anywhere, because in the second half of this video, we're diving into another hot K-pop update that you definitely don't want to miss. Stay tuned. Alright, now let's move on to our second big story of the day. And honestly, this one had me buzzing all weekend. RIIZE is officially back, and they did not come to play. They've just dropped their first ever full-length album, and it's already making waves both in Korea and internationally. Let's talk about it. So, RIIZE released their highly anticipated album titled ODYSSEY on May 19th, and it's safe to say they're entering a whole new chapter. This isn't just a comeback. This feels like a statement, a declaration of who they are as a group and what kind of sound they want to own. SM Entertainment has really leaned into that emotional pop genre for them, and I actually think it's starting to pay off in a big way. Let's talk about the numbers, because they're impressive. The title track Fly Up debuted at number 3 on Melon's Top 100, and it's already secured the number 1 spot on Melon's Hot 100. That's a huge deal, especially considering how saturated the market is right now. Not to mention, Fly Up is also topping Bugs and Vibe's Rapid Rise charts. That's already 4 major platforms showing strong early traction. And it's not just the title track that's gaining attention. The B-sides from the album like Back Bad Back, Angel, The End of Every Day, and Midnight Mirage, all of them are charting too. I mean, how often do we see that? Usually, only the title track gets the spotlight, but for RIIZE, the whole album is getting love. That tells me 2 things. 1, the fans are showing up for the full body of work, and 2, the general public is actually checking out more than just the lead single. That's a win in every direction. Now, let's look at the global impact. In China, RIIZE topped the digital album sales chart on QQ Music, which is the biggest music platform over there. Not only that, but the album earned a platinum certification. That's major. China is a tough market, especially for K-pop boy groups, so for RIIZE to achieve that with their first full album, huge milestone. Over in Japan, the momentum is building too. The album hit number 1 on AWA's Real-Time Rising chart, number 2 on Rekochoku's daily album ranking, and number 4 on Line Music's album Top 100. Japan is such an important market for long-term success, and it's clear that RIIZE is planting their flag there early. Now let's take a moment and talk about the album itself, ODYSSEY. I really appreciate that they called it that, because honestly, it does feel like a journey. From the emotional highs of Fly Up to the introspective mood of Midnight Mirage, there's a narrative here. You can tell the track list was curated intentionally. It's not just a bunch of songs thrown together. It feels cohesive. It tells a story of youth, dreams, loss, hope, and growth. The members themselves seem more confident this time around too. You can feel it in the vocals, in the choreography, in the visuals. This album feels like RIIZE saying, we know who we are now, and we're ready to show you. They also held a showcase at the Seoul Travel Hall in Blue Square, Seoul on the day of the album release. And yes, they performed Fly Up and Back Bad Back live, and the fan reactions were super positive. Seeing them on stage with this new energy just confirms that they've leveled up. There's more depth to their performance. Now, more emotion, more presence. And here's my personal take. I think RIIZE is finally stepping out of the rookie shadow. With this album, they're showing that they're not just another SM boy group. They're a group with a defined sound, a growing identity, and a loyal fan base that actually connects with their music. But I want to know what you think. Have you listened to ODYSSEY yet? What was your favorite track? I'm kind of torn between Fly Up and The End of Every Day. Both just hit so differently. Do you think this album solidifies RIIZE as one of the top contenders of the 5th gen? And how do you feel about their musical direction? Is emotional pop working for you, or do you want to see them explore something else in the future? Let's get into the comments and have that discussion. I want to hear from longtime BRIs, casual listeners, and even those who might be checking them out for the first time. Are you on board with RIIZE's Odyssey? Or are you still waiting to be fully convinced? All right, that wraps up today's episode of Anyong Buzz. If you enjoyed this deep dive into Boynextdoor and RIIZE's latest moves, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss the next K-pop update. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.